oil, Saudi Arabia is one of the largest countries in the Middle East located on the Arabian Peninsula. Population of over 35 million with Riyadh as the capital city. Besides, one of the world leading crude oil producer and a member of OPEC. Petroleum is the backbone of the economy, generating government revenue, employment, and funding public service. Through Vision 2030, Saudi Arabia is diversifying its economy by investing in tourism, technology, renewable energy, and manufacturing to reduce dependence on oil. Next, we go through two types of economic system. Saudi Arabia is mixed economy combining market and government control system. Private business operate based on market demand and supply. Furthermore, the government encourage growth in tourism, banking, telecommunications, retail and manufacturing under Vision 2030. The government through Saudi Aramco controls the oil industry, including production, exports and pricing. Last but not least, petroleum remains the main source of national income, while Saudi Arabia continues to diversify its economy.
This slide explains the factors affecting demand and supply in Saudi Arabia's petroleum market. For demand, the main factors are global economic growth, oil prices, population growth, and seasonal demand. These factors influence how much petroleum consumers need. For supply, the key factors are OPEC+, production decision, low production cost, political stability, and advanced technology. Together, these factors determine the amount of petroleum supplied to the market. This slide shows the market equilibrium in Saudi Arabia's petroleum market. At a price of $60 per barrel, the quantity demanded and quantity supplied are both 9 million barrels per day. This is the equilibrium point where there is no shortage or surplus and the market operates efficiently. This slide explains the recent change in market equilibrium. Due to OPEC Plus production cuts, the supply of petroleum decreased, causing the supply curve to shift to the left. As a result, the equilibrium price increased from $60 to $70 per barrel, while the equilibrium quantity decreased from 9 to 8 million barrels per day. This shows that when supply decreased, price increased and the quantity sold decreased.
Now I will explain the elasticity of demand and supply. First, based on our calculation, the price elasticity of demand is 0.36. Since the value is between 0 and 1, it shows that the demand for petroleum oil is inelastic. This means when the price changes, the quantity demanded changes by a smaller percentage because petroleum is a necessity and consumers still need to buy it. Next, the price elasticity of supply is 0.25. This is also inelastic because less than 1. Oil producers cannot quickly increase producing when the prices rise due to limited production capacity and the time needed to extract and process the crude oil. There are two factors influencing demand elasticity. The first factor is availability of substitutes. Petroleum has limited substitutes, especially in transportation. So demand is less responsive to price changes. The second factor is time frame. In the short run, demand is more inelastic because consumers cannot easily change their consumption habits. However, in the long run, they may switch to other alternatives such as electric vehicle or public transport. For supply elasticity, the first factor is surplus capacity. Countries like Saudi Arabia can increase their production if they have spare capacity. The second factor is time frame. In the short run, Oil supply is inelastic because increasing production takes time. In the long run, producers can expand their production making supply more elastic.
Next, consumer behavior. Consumer behavior refers to how people make purchasing decisions to maximize their satisfaction within their income. In Saudi Arabia, petroleum products such as petrol and diesel are considered essential goods because they are widely used for transportation, business, and industrial activities. Since fuel prices in Saudi Arabia are relatively lower than in many other countries, most consumers prefer using their own private vehicles instead of public transportation. As a result, the demand for petroleum products remains consistently high. However, when food prices increase due to government policies or changes in the global oil market, consumers may reduce unnecessary travel. They will use more fuel-efficient vehicles or choose alternative transportation whenever possible. Even so, petroleum is still a necessity for daily life and business activities. Therefore, the overall decrease in demand is limited because people still need petrol and diesel for commuting, working, and running business.
Now, I will explain the theory of distribution in Saudi Arabia's petroleum industry. The theory of distribution explains how wages are determined through the interaction between labor demand and labor supply. In Saudi Arabia, the petroleum industry is one of the largest employers. It provides job opportunities for engineers, geologists, technicians, refinery workers, and administrative staff. Employers are willing to pay higher wages to workers whose skills and productivity contribute more to petroleum production. The equilibrium which is reached when the demand for labor is equal to the supply of labor. This means the wage rate is determined by market forces. An example can be seen in Saudi Arabia's petroleum industry. When global demand for crude oil increases, petroleum companies expand production and need more skilled workers such as engineers and technicians. Because the demand for skilled workers increases, companies usually offer higher wages to attract and retain qualified employees. However, when oil price fall or production slows down, the demand for labor decreases, causing wage growth to slow as well. This shows that wages are influenced by the balance between labor demand and labor supply. Next, I will explain the factors influencing wage difference. The first factor is skills. Workers with specialized skills such as petroleum engineers and drilling specialists receive higher salary because their expertise is essential for petroleum production. The second factor is productivity. Employees who work more efficiently, solve technical problems quickly, and improve production output are rewarded with better wages and performance incentive. The third factor is labor demand. When global demand for petroleum increases, companies require more skilled workers, so wages also increases. Lastly, labor supply affects wages. Highly skilled professionals are still limited in Saudi Arabia because there are fewer qualified workers available. They have stronger bargaining power and can earn higher salaries. On the other hand, jobs with a large labor supply usually offer lower wages.
In conclusion, petroleum is the backbone of Saudi Arabia's economy and contributes significantly to its economic growth. The market reached equilibrium at $60 per barrel, where quantity demand equals quantity supply. Since petroleum is an essential product, both demand and supply are inelastic. Consumer purchasing decisions are mainly based on necessity, while wages are influenced by labor demand, labor supply, worker skills, and productivity. Overall, this magazine shows how microeconomics concepts explain the operation of Saudi Arabia's petroleum market. Thank you.